Welcome back, everybody. Today we are going to try to finish up this part of the Blender 3D Noob to Pro wiki book, and you might hear some background noise. My dad's watching TV in there, and um, the 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 microphones on the Logitech camera here actually pick up pretty well, even though they seem to pick up a lot, like the background noise of the fan and stuff. Which I'll probably have to get I don't know, a microphone or something later that'll. I got a few microphones. Might be a condenser mic in there somewhere where it doesn't have that extra noise, but I'll have to see it. I'll have to find it and then pull it out and see if it works, see if it'll do what I want. Any case, we're getting really close to and you know what I did again? Of course, forgot to start this thing, but that's all right. Um, so we're just gonna see if within today's videos if we can get through the rest of this, which it looks like we're almost done anyways. So we are at the transformation menu, which isn't such a big deal as far as showing you it because you know it, you've seen it before, and it's not that much different than it is on. See something here. Is that on? That's not even on, is it? Shortcut VR. Okay. Let's go back to view. Um, Everything's here: location, rotation, scale, dimensions, which is kind of interesting because you can change the scale. Like the scale is one to one here. Actually, let's reset this. New. Okay. Um, um, Shortcut VR. Start it. Okay, let's go back to view. Okay, so you look here, scale is 1, 1, but dimensions are 2 by 2. So, if I change the scale, and what's interesting here is that changing the dimensions, so it's actually twice the scale, which is interesting. It's kind of weird to me because it almost seems like you wouldn't want to change the scale. You'd want it to be, you know, you'd want it just to remain the same as it is, but the to for instance, I can stretch this out, but then the scale increases when I do that. So I don't get what about that. Let's just log these. Let's see what happens when I do that. Kind of weird, huh? I don't know what locking them does. Lock editing of scale in the interface. Well, somehow I was able to still edit it though, wasn't I? So I don't get that. Anyways, let's go back to the to the wiki book. Or I want to do it like this. Yet another way is shown at the right. Transformation panel that appears at the top of the properties. Shall press N to toggle its visibility at the right side of the view. Here you can see the existing transformation values. Drag the sliders to change them, or click on them to enter new values. Let's see if the N it was what does it. N still does it. Okay, T is over here at the tool panel. See. Um, let's see. I've noticed in a lot of like tutorials like Unity or Unreal Engine that, or I should just say, well, Unity and Godot. I don't know about Unreal because I haven't watched many Unreal tutorials at least lately. But Godot and Unity, they do a lot where they actually put in the values into the panel directly as like how they do regular stuff. They don't seem to freehand it or whatever. They seem to, want to enter it in. So maybe that's just because those game engines are limited in their actual 3D modeling capabilities. But Blender, of course, has like lots of tools and stuff. It's more specifically for 3D modeling and animation and all that stuff. So maybe that's why. Okay, so the transformation menu, we got that. I always, yeah. So I don't really get the the thing between scale and dimensions. Maybe it's something I'll have to look up or something. You know, what's the difference? I mean, I get it. You have a scale of 1 unit, right? So 1 unit equals 2 meters, right? And they do it in meters. In fact, I can do it in feet, and I can do it in like regular imperial measurements instead of metric, which might be more useful because I'm American. But at the same time, I'm learning it, so I'm not messing with that. But I get if you would want to change the scale, but if you change the dimensions, why do you need both scale and dimensions? I don't understand that. Um, in any case, um, let's see here. Oh, one thing I wanted to check out, the scale, right? So the scale should actually change the scale if I do that, right? And it does. And dimensions are always 2 times the scale, which is interesting. I don't know why that is though. Anyways, choosing the pivot point. And here's something kind of interesting. These should be similar to the to the old one. When you do a scaling or rotation operation, you can choose the pivot point, which is the central origin point that remains unaffected by the operation. By default, this is the median point or center point of the selection, but the pivot point menu lets you choose some other options. For example, select both the cube and the camera and rotate them R. By default, they will rotate around their common center. Now go to the pivot point menu and choose individual origins and rotate your 2 selected objects R. Again, you'll see how each one rotates about its own center rather than the common one. Okay, so I'm going to try that right now, and I'm going to switch to the rotation widget, and I'm going to say control, I'm going to say shift. Okay, now we can see how this works. Okay, and same thing here. What's interesting here is how they're not actually close. It's just because of the viewpoint. Okay. Anyways, okay. So now this would be the pivot point here. That's another thing that they need to do, which they may fix it in the actual release one. But if you do the tooltip, what it says Python view 3D underscore PT underscore pivot underscore point. So that tells you it's the pivot point, but it's telling you the Python, like, I don't know, command or attribute or whatever that is. That should actually pop up with a proper tooltip that says pivot point. That's really what it should do. Okay, so median point. Pivot around the median point of selected objects. So pivot center for rotation scaling, bounding box center. 3D cursor. Pivot center for rotation and scaling. Individual origins. Okay, so let's do individual origins instead of median point. And now, how about that? They turn around and around and around and around. I don't know how useful that is, but yeah, I guess if let's say you're turning knobs on a receiver or something, model of a receiver, and you want to just turn both of them, you select both of them and do individual origins. That's kind of cool. Let's go back to median. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay. All right. Another useful pivot option is 3D cursor, which places the transformation origin at the 3D cursor location. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's change the 3D cursor location, which is let's just do this and let's put it out here somewhere. I don't care where it is right now because we're just going to do this median point here. We're going to do 3D cursor, and we're going to go ahead and do the rotate again, and And now it rotates around the 3D cursor. Woo! Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. And look at that. It's back at media point, which is awesome. Okay. And finally, the button with the 3 dots and the double-headed arrow immediately to the right of the one that pops up on the pivot menu is titled Manipulate Center Points. Select this means the transformations do not rotate the actual objects themselves, only their positions. To see the effect, you need to choose a pivot point that is not the object's origin. Now try rotating the object and you will see its center describes an arc around the pivot point without changing the object's orientation. Think about seats in the Ferris wheel rotate around the wheel's pivot yet still maintain their orientation. So the button with the 3 dots and the double-headed arrow, which is this one, I wonder if we have that in here somewhere. What's this? This is okay. I don't know, that has to do with something else, editing or something. And let's see something here. This one, only origins. Here, actually, is there a? Okay, let's go ahead and just new. Every time I do that, I have to restart this, but which is okay. But okay, so let's close that. Let's see. Finally, the 3 dots, pivot point menu. Do not to see the effect. You need to choose a pivot point that is not the object's origin. How do I choose a pivot point that's not the object's origin? I don't really know what that means. Like if I do this, that's still doing it. So I'm not sure. Oh. Okay, so shift is what I meant to do. Oh, I see. Okay, so notice it's going like a bicycle wheel here because it maintains their relative position. But then let's take that off and let's then do this. Oop, again. See now it's actually turning them upside down and stuff. So okay, that makes sense. Cool, that's cool. That's cool. All right. Okay, so that should about cover it for this particular video. We'll see in the next video. Hopefully we'll be able to finish up today. So let's just hope I can do that. So thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.